All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is December 8th, 6:32 for CB11 Public Safety and Transportation Committee. Pleasure to have you with us. Continuing the good fight. I hope everyone's holidays are starting out nicely. I think we're all ready for the holidays at this point, or for a few days off at least. All right, so we're going to start tonight's meeting. Let's begin with our agenda. We're going to have our ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have questions about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participant icon, the participant panel should appear. You should find the raise hand function there. If you have technical difficulties, you may click on that chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. Chat functions should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us of a technical difficulty you're having or to state in writing information like email address that was already stated out loud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have questions or comments about the subject of the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. All right, we already did a call to order. Let's do a roll call.
Yeah, give me 1 second, members. Okay, so please keep in mind that the committee there are a total of 10 committee members for this committee, and 6 members would constitute quorum. I'll be calling you by your last name in alphabetical order. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Thank you. Kenneth Crouch.
Here.
Thanks. Carlos Diaz.
Here.
Thank you. Judith Ferbraro. Ostendi Garcia.
Present.
Thank you. Wanda Hopkins is supposed to be attending via phone, but I don't see her. Marissa Mack. Roberto Perez. Don Sanders.
Present.
Thank you. Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
Present. And I
Thank
saw that Roberto had joined. You might just want to see
Who joined? I'm sorry.
Roberto.
I see
Yes,
Roberto.
Roberto Perez here, present.
Thank you, Roberto. Okay, Chair. So you currently have 7 members present. You have quorum. Jose, you're muted.
Yes, I was keeping my mom out of the office, so she stops making noise here. That's my hat. All right, perfect, beautiful. Let's move forward with Charlie. You got this whole little Puerto Rican Godfather going. Smile, my guy.
Well, I was in Puerto Rico for a couple of days.
All right, I like you smiling. Well, me mean mugging me. All right, we're gonna adopt tonight's agenda. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide, please.
Hi,
right.
everyone. I don't know if you could hear me. This is Antonio Rivera. I'm just joining now.
Okay, we can hear you, but
Okay, thanks.
all right, sounds good. Antonio, make sure you mute yourself so we don't hear you by mistake, okay? We're gonna do some announcements and then we'll fall into our agenda. Announcements, a conversion on improving New York City's response to individuals in mental health crisis. This is from the Public Advocate's Office. A local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to the hazardous obstruction by vehicles and civilian complaints to the Department of Transportation for hazardous obstruction violations. This one, we obviously how the city is dealing with individuals with mental health is a big issue. That report, we will give it to the members of this committee as well as the full board meeting. In regards to the second one, the local law, it is concerning to us. It is a local law to amend the law in regards to basically if someone stops in a bus lane or in a bike lane to drop off, pick up, whatever it is quickly, which unfortunately the way the city's infrastructure is going, has to happen. Otherwise, you're stopping all the traffic. They are now having a way for very high penalty of $175, which is very concerning to our members. We're going to, in our January meeting, we're going to hash that out a little more. That's still being presented to City Council. It's not going, but we will have a position on that. But we just wanted to make the committee aware so that it's something that we can start thinking about. Next slide. We're going to start with informational updates. Officer Gibbons is terribly ill. For those who don't know, Peter Gibbons from 23rd Precinct. He is with us every single month. Unfortunately, this month he cannot be here due to he says he's been home for a week. So we're going to hope he feels better. Do we have Officer Powers or Officer Cosme on from the 25th Precinct?
Yes, I'm here, Jose. It's
There
Officer
you are.
Cosme.
Hi, Officer Cosme. See, 2 nights in a row.
Hello.
I'm lucky. I was with her, Officer Cosme last night at the 2-5's monthly meeting. Please, the floor is yours.
Sure. So good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna give a quick update on a quick concept report on what's been going on in the area. So in the past month, we've had 0 murders, 0 rapes, 13 robberies, 26 felony assaults, 9 burglaries, 32 grand larcenies, and 8 grand larceny autos. Across the board, this is all down, but I will hit some specifics that we should be focusing on. So I want to speak mostly about the burglaries and grand larcenies. So the grand larcenies, like I mentioned already, there's 32 in the past month. Most of these have been our delivery people who do like Grubhub, Seamless. They leave their bikes unattended or not locked properly as they are delivering or picking up food, and then their bikes are being stolen. So and these bikes are going over $1,000, which makes it a grand larceny. So our crime prevention team has been visiting all the the food businesses just to remind them to let their delivery people know to please lock up their bikes as they're making these deliveries. And then the burglaries, which is 9 in the past 28 days. This is down from 13 compared to last year during this time. So we have 9 burglaries. It's very important to speak about burglaries, especially right now with the holidays coming up. Everybody's buying packages, everybody's getting these packages dropped off to their homes, and they're being stolen from inside their homes. It's considered a burglary. So we want to remind everyone to please have the proper tracking information of your packages. Make sure that they are not left unattended in front of your door. If you do live in a building where anyone can just come in and out, if you live in a house, make sure you specify to not leave your package unattended, to leave it with a neighbor or to leave it with someone would be very helpful. It'll avoid these kind of complaints. So, and then the last thing I just wanted to point out, I'm sorry, I have it right here, is most of the robberies that have been taking place. So like I said, there's been 13. This has significantly decreased as opposed to 24 from the same time last year. And most of these have been, again, just like someone will approach you in the street and it'll be like an armed robbery. Once again, this is very common around the holiday season because a lot of people are shopping. A lot of people are walking around with a lot of money in their pocket because they're on their way to go shop, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to, once again, bring that to everybody's attention. And our crime prevention officer is working really hard to get those safety tips out to the community. And that's really it from my part.
Thank you for that report, Officer Cosme. Michelle, you have your hands up?
Yes, thank you for the floor. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to find out if you had said armed or unarmed with when it comes to respect with people that are walking around with money. Are there robberies in the street armed or unarmed? I couldn't get that distinction.
Sure, no problem. So basically out of those 13, only 4 of them have been armed with some kind of weapon, not necessarily a firearm, but just any kind of weapon. The others are all strong arm, what we call strong arm, which means that there was some kind of force or threat of force used, but there's not necessarily a weapon that was used or brandished.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Also, I wanted to thank all the people that came to the the tree lighting. It was a grand amount of police officers from both precincts, and I really appreciate it, and the toy giveaway.
No problem at all. We're happy to do it.
And do we have any other questions for Officer Cosme? Usually we ask questions together, but since Officer Gibbons not here, this is the time. Okay, that is our Christmas present to you, Officer Cosme. A nice, quiet night.
Oh, don't say quiet. We don't use that word.
We don't use that word, right? All right, sounds good. Have a good night, and we will be in touch. I think tomorrow we have that walkthrough for the event. Is that still
Yes.
happening at East River Plot? Perfect.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Perfect.
No
Thank you so much.
worries. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. We are also have here, I believe I saw Marco from the DA's office.
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
There's Marco. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jose. It's always
All right, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, as Jose mentioned, my name is Marco Perez Jr. I'm the East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. An update I have, the Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg Jr. has been making his rounds to local community board full board meetings. Last week, he was at Community Board 11 for a full board meeting, really giving the community updates of what he has done in terms of his time when he started in office, in terms of gun violence. As of now, we are about 500 gun cases have been prosecuted. And moving forward, we have multiple announcements that we released throughout the year that I've shared with you all. Some of them is the new announcement of the Housing and Tenant Protection Unit, where local ADAs will be strategizing and focusing on abuse by landlords and developers. Other announcements that we had throughout the year was the exonerated 5 of our work there, and the exonerated 6th person in our post-criminal justice unit when it comes to wrongful convictions. Moving forward, something that was released today that I want to share with you all was DA Bragg did announce the indictment of a hate crime assault of a transgender woman in Central Harlem. Alshon Williams, 49 years old, was indicted for the stabbing and shooting at a transgender woman in Central Harlem after misgendering the individual and shouting an anti-gay slur. Williams is charged in New York State Supreme Court with an indictment of assault in the 2nd degree as a hate crime, attempted assault in the 1st degree as a hate crime, criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree, and menacing in the 2nd degree as a hate crime. This is something that was released as of today, December 8th. Other than that, I have no further report. I know that the DA extends his well and grateful thank you to CB11. It gave the community the opportunity to ask any questions they would like to ask the DA directly. We greatly do appreciate the collaboration and look forward to working together to address public safety in East Harlem. Any questions?
Thank you, Marco, for that report. Oh, we have our chair, Xavier Santiago, joining us, and he has a question.
Thank you, Jose Altamirano, our Chair of Public Safety and Transportation, for always being at the helm here. Marco, thank you very much for being there with us at last full board and for the generous amount of time allocated by our district attorney in Manhattan, Alvin Bragg. We appreciate that. I wanted to find out a couple quick clarifying questions. I didn't get to have the meeting prior to the full board, but there are over 400 declined to prosecutes in the 2-5, and some dealing with, multiple dealing with drug distribution. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind following up and get an explanation of all of those and why those decisions were made by the ADAs. That would be the only thing I would have requested in advance. And we wanted to also extend our happy holidays to you and the entire team.
Perfect. Thank you for uplifting that, Chairman Santiago. What I will ask is if you could possibly email me or give me a call so we could speak offline in terms of which are some of those cases you guys would like me to look into. I know you said it's over 400, but want to make sure that when I bring it back to my team, we have a bunch of logistical information so we can help aid in that request. I will contact CSU, our crime strategies unit that works closely with NYPD on cases to explain any further explanation that would be needed in terms of how the case was handled.
I would greatly appreciate that, especially since being out in the field as of late and a lot of the feedback from the community, and then making sure that we are being the measure of mediation, if you will, that we're able to work and distill things so that the public can understand the workflow midstream. So thank you.
No problem. Happy to look into it.
All right, Marco, I see that. We're also giving you Christmas presents and
Well,
a nice smooth.
Before I go, sorry, go ahead, Jose. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead. I was gonna say before I go, I just want to wish everybody a happy New Year, happy holidays. If anybody needs me, I will put my information in the chat. Please feel free to use me as a resource in the community to address public safety. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate you here. Happy holidays to you as well. All right, we're going to move on in our informational updates. Next, we have our favorite DOT. I'm Lyle. Lyle, are you with us? We know Lyle's trying to get rid of us. He has rid of, he's tired of our nonsense, our constant pressure, our goals and dreams. Hey, Lyle, we hear you. Thank you.
How are you? Nothing really much as far as new updates from DOT this month, but more or less to piggyback off of what you were just saying, this looks like it's going to be my last meeting with the committee. Rafael is on the call. As you know, he'll be covering CB11. He's more or less covering CB11 now, but he'll be covering CB11 solo pretty much in the next couple of weeks. But, in the meantime, any questions, concerns, you can reach out to the both of us for any assistance, and we'll see what we can do for you. We're working together for the time being, just in a transitional period, and soon it's going to be Rafael's show. So I just wanted to thank everyone for working with me these years. It's been a pleasure working with everyone. I'm not leaving the agency. I will be still serving Northern Manhattan in CBs 9, 10, and 12. So it's not necessarily a goodbye. It's more see you later. But I just wanted to thank everyone for helping me do my job a little bit easier. And, don't be a stranger. Anything that you need, at least for the time being, you can reach out to me and Rafael, and we'll both see what we can do for you. I know that we had the conversation in regards to car share last month. Just very quickly, as far as any feedback or any questions, I know there's going to be a conversation about this later on. Anything that you have, if you can send over to us in writing, we can definitely pass it along to our colleagues in our car share division. I know that they are waiting for any and all feedback from the community board. So if there's anything any questions, comments, concerns that you have. Again, by all means, you can send those over to me and Raphael, and we can absolutely pass those over to our colleagues in car share. I think oh, sorry. Oh, that's it for me. One thing I saw in regards to the streetlight request on the agenda for East 120th and Pleasant. I'm not sure if that's a presentation or a discussion, but very quickly, in regards to that, if there is a request for additional lighting at that intersection, we can definitely create a case on the community board's behalf in order to see if the study can be conducted in order to determine the feasibility of additional lighting on 120th and Pleasant. So, like I said, we can make that request and get back to the community board once we've heard back from our street lighting division. Like I said, they'll be the ones to determine the feasibility of additional lights at that intersection. And this is for everyone. One last thing. Again, if there's any questions, concerns about this, streetlights, sidewalks, traffic signals, roads, signage, all that falls under DOT's jurisdiction. So, like I said, by all means, you can reach out to me, Raphael, and like I said, we'll see what we can do for you on DOT's end. But
Actually, Mario, for 120th and Pleasant, what we're looking for is actually what we meant by street light. It's actually a traffic light.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just our bad. There is a large community push for a light there for a couple of reasons. One, because there was a time when Pleasant Avenue was very quiet. We recently added a traffic light on 119th and Pleasant due to the fatality that happened there. And we'd rather not wait for any fatalities to happen just one block away. There are several schools that cross through there. Traffic has increased substantially in that area due to East River Plaza. And, more than anything, a lot of residential people living there. We've had complaints from the people living on 120th between First and Pleasant, how people speed through and just run through everything. Obviously, a traffic light would help to mitigate that. So that was the request we plan to make tonight? Is there a particular format or way to make this request?
I mean, basically you just did. So I can go in tomorrow and create a case, like I said, on the community board's behalf. And we can definitely see if a traffic signal at that intersection is feasible. If I'm not mistaken, I think at the intersection currently there's a stop sign. I'm not sure if it's an all-way stop sign.
There's a stop sign.
Okay. So I think our signals division has been there in the past because they would be the ones that would handle stop signs as well as traffic signals. But I can see if we can have another study conducted to determine the feasibility for traffic signal. Don't worry about it. You just made the request. We can put it in for you.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you over the years.
Likewise.
Sometimes you disappear on us, but that's all right. We understand it's been a difficult job. There's a lot to be done, but over the course of the time you've been here, we have gotten a lot accomplished. We did our walkthrough that started in the summer, and just recently we did the northern part of our district, which is up at 131st. We did every major intersection starting from 96, 106, 116, 125th, 131, 135, all that area to make sure that we have pedestrian ramps incorrect. We have our signal lights and our countdown lights. We made sure that we have pedestrian, they call it like a delay program, where when the light turns red, pedestrians get a 4 to 5 seconds lead time to cross. And at that point, no vehicles are moving. And that allows the pedestrian to cross well halfway and giving the advantage, making sure that public safety is of paramount importance. Some of these things were already implemented on 96th Street, but we've managed to implement them, and whatever mistake we found, we move forward with it. And we found quite a few mistakes, and some of them made us laugh, but they were of concern. We found the pothole on 116 and between Park and Madison, I was
Yeah.
like 3.5 feet deep. It's not a pothole anymore. I think it was like a cavern. 125th Street, we found the sign going the wrong way. But listen, it was great. It was great having you. I'm happy that you're still with the department. I know that Rafael will be with us, but thank you for the time you've given us. We'll look forward to. I'm still gonna text you and bother you. So
Yeah,
I'll take you that
no
away.
problem. No problem. Like I said, I'll be around. So any questions, any comments, concerns, like I said, you can still reach out to me. Like I said, I'll just be next door. So Jose, no problem.
All
Whenever,
right.
whenever you have anything,
And
by all means.
and we do have that traffic light so we'll still if you, both of you stay on for a moment because right after you will fall into our agenda, and I believe it's one of the first things on there. I know that you've already accepted our request, but just in case anyone has any of the board members has a question or concern that you would be the most appropriate to answer.
Okay, I can say that, no problem.
We have a question for you from AL. Who's AL?
Hi, this is AL. I actually don't have a question. Sorry, I was instructed to raise my hand to give an announcement. So I'll stop talking now.
Oh, we're gonna do it. Okay. So we're gonna do an announcement. We do announcement at the beginning. We do announcement at the end.
Hey, Jose, can I just say something?
Sure. Who's talking now?
This is Rafael.
Oh, Rafael. Yeah, please go ahead. Introduce
No,
yourself.
no,
to the
I just
committee.
want to assure you, you're going to be in good hands.
I like that. Good, good. We
And
appreciate you.
if I do have any question as to how to proceed, hey, my friend Lyle will be right about 20 feet from me.
Yeah.
So,
That'd be
Okay,
great.
so-
Listen, we look forward to working with you, Rafael.
and by the way, now that you're there, Lyle, there was an email today requesting a ramp, pedestrian ramp on 113th Street on First Avenue. Do you know about that?
Oh yes, Angel sent over an email about a big blog
Yeah.
with Instagram. So we are going to reach out to our pedestrian ramps division on our end to see if that's feasible. Again, that's another division. They can go to that area in order to see if it's doable. Just bear with us as far as just the length of time it will take to conduct the study. But we'll definitely be in touch with the community board.
I think Lyle, that the ramp is there. It just has to be improved. You have these newer ramps that are. It's kind of what happened when we went up in the northern quadrant. That some of those ramps, they're there, but they had like steep drops or that kind of situation.
Yeah, they weren't at grade, or they might need to be, a little bit more. If it's like
So
that,
it's not like it's not the creation of a new ramp. It's just the improvement of one that's necessary.
Gotcha.
Do you think, Jose? Do you think that it would be appropriate for me to join you and taking a look at it?
Sure. Lyle,
Excellent.
I'll send you my information, or Lyle can share it with you.
Excellent.
Maybe if anything, I'll go with you, Raphael, and we can, conduct this site visit together. That might not be a bad idea, actually.
That sounds good.
Excellent. So put it together, Jose.
All right, we'll be in touch. Absolutely.
All right, Lyle, you text me. You know how it goes.
I know where to find you. No problem.
All right.
The process.
All right, so we're going forward with our agenda. Let's see, Khalid, we finished with informational updates now. All right, so here we are, right on cue. As we spoke about, if we put street light, but yeah, it is a traffic light. It is a request. We're making the request. Thank you for accepting our request. I just want to make sure if any of the board members had any other questions or concerns regarding this. I know that one of our board members lives not too far from there, Marissa Mack, but I'm not sure if she was able to make it tonight. But I do think it is a smart thing to do. Last year, we had a fatality on 119th in Pleasant. Right after that fatality, that used to be a stop sign. And right after that, we asked for, and they, traffic light was implemented. And this is the next block up. This is the last block that only has a stop sign, but we have in that area, I think 3 schools. There's a school to the right, there's a school to the left, there's just schools everywhere. So I think, it's better to be on the side of caution and make sure that everything's well instead of waiting for something to happen. So that's why this request is being made. I want to make sure that any of our committee members, if they had a question or concern, this is the time to voice it. Go ahead, Dawn.
Thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to, I guess, ask, because the DOT is putting in place a number of changes to, I guess, make sure there's fewer lanes of traffic. So I think DOT, anytime they take away lanes of traffic or take away parking or any of the other road diet agenda that they have, they should also look at the safety issues that are caused and be proactive about those. So, as Raphael might know or doesn't know or might know soon, I have not been impressed over the last 15 years with the way the DOT conducts community engagement with this community. I think it's not community engagement. It's just telling us what's going to happen next. And so I think that DOT should be aware that the changes that you make have consequences for people who live in these areas and on the streets. And I think, start planning ahead so that DOT's actions don't reduce quality of life within our community. So just to put that on the record.
Thank you, Dawn. Do you have any comments as to the actual traffic light that we're requesting?
I would be in support of a traffic light. I used to live along Pleasant, and when there was no need for any lights, and I feel like when the mall went in and when other changes were made, promises were made to the community that were not upheld. I don't know if that's significant at this time, but obviously we have to put a light in for the protection of the people who live and work and shop and go to school in that area, because there is a huge amount of traffic there. And frankly, if the mall had continued to have the pricing that was promised to us 10 years ago, then people would probably go into the mall and park instead of taking up all of the side streets around that area. That was not how it was supposed to play out. So if we have to now fix the fact that DOT does not do their due diligence when they do transportation planning, then so be it. But they could also be a little bit more responsive to the best practices of public transportation and transportation planning, which other cities seem to have figured out.
Thank you, Dawn. Does any other committee member have a position, a comment on this traffic signal? And if not, we will move forward. Okay, seems to be the case. All right, Lyle and Rafael, thank you. We appreciate you. Also, I had one more question for both of you regarding 117th Street between Pleasant and East River Plaza. We were promised permanent divisions, the granite blocks, and they're still not.
Yeah, they'll be there. I don't know exactly what the date is. The plan is for them to be installed. We can,
because so far, Lyle, so our concern is a reality. I mean, I was there
It's
today,
true.
and people, they're just running over the plastic bollards.
Good to know.
and
Good to
leaving
know.
their car there. So everything we did for the pedestrians to have more walkway is kind of for nothing.
Gotcha. If there are any pictures that you have of that area, with, just as it is currently, if you can send those to us, we'll see if we can twist some arms to get something there faster. But the plan is for those blocks to still be at that location. It's just a matter of inventory, but we will definitely raise that to our colleagues.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you.
No problem.
Jose, I just want to add that because I just came into this ball game, I wanted to tell you that I like to get familiar with all those issues as soon as possible. So I will need you and the members of your committee to educate me in these particular issues. So just make sure that you reach out to me or in the meantime, reach out to me because I like to learn. I like to learn, and I like to learn quickly. So I'll be able to alleviate the problems that you've been having for so many, whatever times you have said you had those problems. So I'm here for you guys.
Definitely. We will hold you to that. You may regret saying that in the future.
Absolutely.
You see Lyle laugh right away.
I will rely on Lyle also and he knows that I'm just bugging him every time I need to answer some questions. So
Thank you, Rafael.
Yeah,
we're
we'll
gonna
definitely
move forward with our agenda. We have a few things doing tonight. So thank you for helping us with this request. It was nice to know that it was.
I'm going to remain in the meeting just to be familiarized with your issues.
All right,
I just wanted to acknowledge also that Rafael is from the old school of being accountable and being responsive and not taking people on a runaround and avoiding them. So I am not at all putting any shade on you, Rafael. I'm so glad that you will be able to change the narrative for how we interact with the DOT.
Thank you, Don.
I will do my best.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move forward now. Our next presentation discussion is we have 3 street co-naming applications before us tonight, as is our usual way of doing things. We will be hearing them tonight and we will be voting on them the following month, which is January. Just so that everyone is aware, as of the year before, City Council has changed their way of interpreting street co-namings and how relative people need to be, how much of a contribution everyone had to do in terms of just in general. So I just want to let everyone know that this is our process. We will be hearing you guys tonight and we will be voting on it on the following month or past that, depending on any changes or necessities. So we're going to start with Herbert Chuck Griffin Way, presented by Ed Davila. Is Ed here?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, perfect. Ed, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, good evening, everyone. And ladies and gentlemen of Community Board 11 and the Public Safety and Transportation Committee. I want to thank you so much for having me this evening and for the opportunity to present to you why we believe that the northwest corner of East 115th Street and 2nd Avenue should be co-named after Coach Herbert Chuck Griffin. And we're looking at it as being listed as Herbert Chuck Griffin Way. I trust that you have read the materials that I submitted to the committee. Permit me to highlight some of the items that I gave you. I gave you the petitions with over 160 signatures, 10 support letters from community members and organizations. I also submitted a journal which commemorates the 30th year of Chuck's service to the community. And that was held back in 1996. Also, I submitted an article that was dated September 13, 2020, in the New York Times, where the article reminded the world of the Voices of East Harlem, which was a singing group that was formed and created by Chuck Griffin. And the article highlights that the singing group was ahead of its time. It is something rare in gospel. It tied music to protest. And then I also submitted an article that I authored, and I wrote it for the Harlem World magazine. And it was celebrating and remembering the greatness of this extraordinary human being, Herbert Chuck Griffin. Finally, I want to thank, I went to high school with him, Russell Schuler, who's one of your board members, and also Debbie Quiones for their assistance in helping us compile and meet your requirements. Let me now talk a little bit about Chuck Griffin in context. We're talking about the mid to late 1960s, when Chuck, who came out of Mississippi and had served in the Navy, arrived in East Harlem. And just about the time that they completed in 1959, the Thomas Jefferson housing projects, Chuck and his family were one of the first inhabitants and tenants of the Thomas Jefferson housing projects. And how lucky were we to have such a great person come into our communities. Right away, Chuck was driving a cab, and he was a side plumber. And right away, he started combing the neighborhood and reaching into young people and people who were messing around with drugs or joining gangs. Chuck made it his calling to go into these situations that we were going through in the community back then, and convincing the young men that there was a better way to live their lives and to better themselves. And so he opened up a community center located on 115th and 16th Streets on 2nd Avenue. The address is 2249, 2247. And it used to be a supermarket. It became known as Chuck Center over the years. And that center grew into one of the most popular centers in Harlem. And we grew exponentially in terms of programs and in terms of the youth that attended the center. We had all sorts of programs, from mural programs. We had football, chess, we had falconry. We were flying falcons at 9, 10, 11 years old, back then in the mountains of New York. He taught us chess, he taught us archery, and we had champions that came out of those types of activities. He also got us into some of the most prestigious boarding schools in the country. The schools that the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the Carnegies, their children attended. Out of 115th Street and 2nd Avenue, at 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, we were using language like Berkshire and Salisbury and Choke and Old Farm Country School and Exeter and Tabor Academy and Hotchkiss. Although we attended Our Lady Queen of Angels and PS 57 and IS 117, and those were our local schools, we were competing in Connecticut, in Massachusetts, in Rhode Island, and in Pennsylvania against these other boarding schools, to the point where we dominated those programs. We were the champions of those programs. And as a consequence, many of us were absorbed free of charge into these schools. Chuck navigated and orchestrated that. So many of us were able to get out of the community and avoid heroin and avoid gangs, and had an opportunity to get a quality education at prestigious institutions that otherwise we never would have had in our wildest imagination an opportunity to do so. I can go on and on. Chuck created the Voices of East Harlem singing group. They performed on some of the greatest stages in the world. They opened up with some of the greatest acts known to mankind: Aretha Franklin, staple singers, Earth, Wind and Fire, Wilson Pickett, Richie Haven. You know, it just goes on and on. We were a remarkable group of singers, and as the New York Times indicated, we were ahead of our time in the lyrics that Chuck wrote and the music that he arranged. And by the way, y'all, Chuck never attended high school or graduated from high school. Chuck was a massive intellectual. God gifted him with great skills and gifts that he shared with the East Harlem community. I can go on and on, but I don't want to take too much time in case you guys have any questions for me.
Thank you. We can feel the heartfelt. Now, does the committee have any questions for Ed? Don, go ahead.
If not, I do have two things I do want to show you.
No, we have no questions. Dawn, go ahead.
Oh,
I just wanted to thank you for coming here and telling us about an individual that I was actually not aware of. What I was aware of is that our District 4 used to be at the top in terms of competing citywide in terms of test scores, despite the poverty that was here. And so I'm glad to know that people were working on that, you know, long before that became a reality. My question is, now I heard recently that some of the residents and some of our electeds wanted to change the name of Jefferson houses altogether. Have you reached out to any of those groups? Because maybe that's the type of person that they should be thinking about when they're thinking about renaming the development. And so I just wanted to put that out there and ask if you had come across any groups that were actually looking for names for that for the development.
well, Don, I am aware of that people have they got in touch with me because they know I was working on the co-naming of the street, and said that they were thinking of Jefferson Park. I was unaware of the housing projects, but Jefferson Park, they were thinking of changing it to Chuck Griffin Park. I'm all in. You know, I'm a diehard acolyte of Chuck Griffin. I met Chuck when I was 11 years old. I'm one of his products. He impacted my life beyond imagination. I have a book in front of me here. It's called Chasing America, right here. And this is our quarterback, who was our quarterback for the Chargers football team. His name is Dennis Watlington. And he's a 2-time Emmy Award winner. Chuck discovered Dennis when he was 11 years old and pulled him off the heroin needle when he was 14. Dennis went on to earn 2 Emmys. He also wrote a play, Dennis did, along with Chuck, called Bullpen, a play about prisons. And some of the young people that participated in that play and got their careers started in acting were Bruce Willis. He was about 17 years old when he joined that play, written by Chuck and Dennis. Bruce Willis, the actor. Denzel Washington also was in the play, and Giancarlo Esposito were in the play. You may remember him in Do the Right Thing. He's the young man that said, how come you don't have any Black people on the wall? Well, they got their career started because of the works of Chuck Griffin and Dennis Watlington. There's another book I have written by a white woman. She was a famous author by the name of Gail. Chapter to the East Harlem Federation Youth Association, which was the formal name of the East Harlem Chargers and the Chuck program. So Chuck is well documented, and I'm so happy that it's grown beyond a street sign name to a potential Thomas housing name, Jefferson Housing, and maybe even the Thomas, the park itself. But he's more than worthy, Dawn, and I'm all in. Just tell me what I have to do.
Thank you, Don. Do we have any other questions or concerns or comments?
I'm gonna, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just send, Mr. Davila, some information through Khalid, to the people who are, in the assembly member's office who were working on the renaming the development.
Wonderful.
So I'll get that information to you.
Thank you,
Thank
Don.
you so much. Thank you.
All right. Ed, thank
May
you
I
for your
just say two
time.
more things, Jose?
Quickly, though.
Quickly,
We have a few more presentations.
Yeah, I just ended. As you can see, the enthusiasm when you talk about a man that impacted our community in such a way. In fact, they don't make men like that anymore. He was a rarity coming out of Mississippi. He was almost lynched when he was 14 years old, and thank God that didn't happen. But Gregory Meeks, who's a congressman, he came up in Taft Projects. He also was developed by Chuck. Even though he was our competitor, he was always constantly at the Chuck Center. And Gregory today is the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. And in addition to that, Charles Rangel, Percy Sutton, Basil Patterson, David Patterson, who became mayor. All of those people were influenced and impacted by Chuck Griffin. It's just trying to just capture the magnificence of this man, and how lucky, again, how lucky we were to have him in our midst, and that this thing is still happening. We talk about him all the time. Thomas Jefferson Housing has a website, and they're constantly communicating on the website. I grew up in Thomas Jefferson houses, and you see him all the time mentioning Chuck Griffin.
Thank you for that information. Ed, thank you for giving us all this knowledge.
Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
That's what we do here. Thank you. We're going to move forward. Next, we have Gerard CX Carter Way, street co-naming presented by Bernadette Carter Wilson. Bernadette, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Community Board 11. Thank you for this opportunity. It's actually Gerard GX Carter Way, and my name is actually Bernadette Carter Winston. I'm going to be sharing my screen for my presentation, and Khalid. Okay, thank you.
Bernadette, you should have screen sharing capabilities. You're a panelist.
Okay, thank you.
I'll correct your name. I'm sorry for the.
No, it's no worries. No worries at all. I'm just trying to. Can you see my screen?
We see the Zoom window for your internet browser.
So yes, we do see your screen.
But you don't see my video.
No.
Okay, hold on a second. What's all this?
Bernadette, is this a video that I can access somewhere or something that can be shared with me so I can share my screen?
I'll email it to you as a link.
Yes, please do.
Thanks, Khalid.
Or you can send the link in the chat as it's right here as well.
I just because it's a large file, so I'm emailing it to you. I guess it'll send you like the Google Drive link. And you'll be able to open it.
Okay, I'll wait for it via email. Nothing has come in yet.
Yeah, it's uploading right now. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Earlier today.
Anything, Khalid? If not, we will move on to the next presentation and come back to Bernadette.
We can circle back, yes.
Okay, so then let me see the next agenda.
It should be Candy. Let me pull up 1 second.
Shared with me. Public safety. I got it. Next presentation is Angel Luis Colon Place. Presented by someone named Candy Vives Vasquez. Is there a Candy here? Hey, Candy, good to see you.
Hey, thank you. Good
Hi,
evening,
Candy.
everyone. Hi.
This is Rafael. Remember me?
Yes, of course. How can I forget? Very helpful. So I'm glad you're back with us and working in Community Board 11 or in East Harlem. So I've been looking forward to working with you as well on different levels. So thank you, everyone, for giving us this moment. I have my board members as well and some colleagues that are on at giving support for Angel. For those that knew Angel, he's the founder of East Harlem's 116th Street Block Association. And consequently, today is his anniversary that he had passed away 2 years ago. And so I don't know, for those that didn't read his bio, Angel Colon was born in Puerto Rico, and he was a former veteran. He served in the Korean War, and he came into East Harlem to, once he saw that East Harlem was facing disinvestments in the community, and at the same time, landlords were leaving the apartments. There was a lot of abandonment going on. So Angel decided to help all the residents in that area to get together, and he, let me just say his bio, because I'm just a little bit nervous, but at the same time, it's just a bittersweet emotional day today, you know, and I'm happy to present for him because he really deserves to be recognized. He's an unsung hero in our community. And for those that have had the opportunity to know Angel would understand why I wholeheartedly feel that, you know, he should have some recognition in some the impact he's done in our community, not just as founder of the 116th Street Block Association, but what he's done to other people who have had their lives, you know, have been changed. So Angel Colon was born on February 28, 1939, by Bayamon, Puerto Rico. He lived there until he moved to the mainland in East Harlem in search of the American dream. As a proud American, he served the U.S. Army and was deployed to fight in the Korean War. After the war, he returned to El Barrio in East Harlem and became a community activist and dedicated improving the quality of life of the residents of East Harlem. He witnessed landlords abandon their buildings and bank disinvestment and redlining the community. Seeing how this impacted the housing and economic development in our community, he organized the residents of the community and inspired them to take over their buildings to repair and maintain their properties and take pride in the community. In 1977, he formed the 116th Street Block Association. But by 1978, it became a non-for-profit recognized by the IRS, where he continued to meet with the tenants and provide meaningful educational workshops with the goal of residents becoming self-sufficient. Through his leadership, his partnership, and developed one of the first housing developments with for-profits, and that was under the leadership of Mayor Koch, who has saw the work that Angel was doing in the community. And I don't have a side slip to show everyone about the letter that Mayor Koch wrote to him, seeing everything that he has done in the community and how he then got him to partner up with for-profit organizations to provide and do a joint venture housing development, which was our first initial Caparra La Nueva. And following that is how we continue to do affordable low-income housing, because that's the way Angel felt that his motto is, in order for the people to stay and live in the community, is to provide affordable low-income housing. Angel was very a strong believer of the low income and making sure that people were not getting evicted. He worked out a way with the tenants to make sure that they weren't getting evicted. He worked something out, but also he gave opportunities to those youth that were facing hardship in receiving, that they were in college, weren't able to provide, either buy books or to continue to complete with their tuition. Angel, out of pocket, put out to help them and support them because he believed in investing in their future. And to this day, we had, if it wasn't for some other people from the community that told me about the work that he's done and how he's helped them and it impacted them in their life, I would have never known about what Angel has done, beyond the 116th Street Block Association, that he went above and beyond for other people. So later on, we've continued to do Colón Plaza, which we named in his dedication and his namesake, and the Bonifacio Corotex housing for the elderly. But before all of this, he also partnered up with HPD. HPD gave him a couple of buildings that we can oversee until they decided what they were going to do with these buildings, to collect rents and to make sure that they were being maintained properly with quality of living with the tenants. And then got into the TIL program, where we were able to provide, through his leadership and support, to have home ownership, And so, of course, for those who are on the community board, are so much familiar, especially through the housing, how we've been strongly advocating so hard to make sure that the TIL program, for those that are still existing, get converted to become home ownership. And we still continue to fight about the whole home ownership on the HDFCs to make sure that they're protected and preserved. And all of this was also spearheaded through the services that, Angel started with in the 116th Street Block Association in partnership with HPD. So I am proud to, know that this is something that we've continued until this day is still in conversation. And so for those that don't know about that, that just started out with the 116th Street Block Association under Angel's leadership. He also, as a veteran, he advocated strongly for the veterans, which there's this, East Harlem has a veteran SRO, which is located at 118, 120th Street. And that's between Madison and Fifth Avenue. That was one of the projects that Angel got involved in. He was also an instrumental person to get the community board to be transferred over to 115th Street, where we're now located here, the Colón Plaza and the 116th Street office, and as well as a mixed use office space. but the community board, he played a lot of that role. He was also a former member of the Community Board 11, where he was housing chair. And he's done a lot of work with a lot of the colleagues that we've all, even still to this day, served in the community board with, if not on the community board, but also on a community level. He was a strong advocate. Most people have benefited a lot of the support that he has done. He's also was in partnership with Aspira, and it was one of the young youth programs that were out there back in the 70s to the 80s, for those that are familiar with that. And a lot of the people that have participated in these programs, including in the educational, we had a space and co-located with the Board of Education to provide services for intervention dropout, high school dropout intervention and after school programs, where it also extended into our community rooms in the afternoon for after school programs to provide services for the kids, keep them out of the streets, and help them also with their homework, along with the Board of Education supporting us with that and the senior programs. So part of the stuff that I feel that Angel also, he got impacted by Parkinson's disease, but that never stopped him from doing the work that he has been doing until, up until 2 years ago. And he always felt his motto was that even though he had Parkinson's never had him. And he always kept that spunk of that, he had a lot of that spunk to have the ability to continue to do a lot of work. And, he's, it's a lot of stuff that Angel, if you would have gotten to know him, you would have understand that he was more of a human person. He was not looking at people. He had a lot of empathy for people, and his thing was about servicing the people and of the community and citywide. So I know that a lot of people have benefited, not just within East Harlem, but out of the boroughs of East Harlem as well, citywide. He has been a strong activist politically wise as well. He has helped a lot of elected officials become elected. I don't have a lot more to say except that, I just feel like we need to support Angel's place. I would like for him to be recognized as an unsung hero of our community and those that he had impacted in their lives. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you for the presentation, Candy. Do you have any questions for Candy?
I have just a couple of things to add to that. My name is Antonio Rivera, and I'm the chairman of the 116th Street Block Association.
Put your camera on.
I'm sorry?
Put your camera on so they can see
Oh,
you.
yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get the camera. Okay. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So Angel, on 102nd Street on Lexington Avenue, you have a street named after the Borinqueniers, which were the 65th Regiment that were from Puerto Rico that fought in Korea. Angel was one of those individuals. In addition to that, Angel, what he left behind, and by the way, Candy, you did a wonderful job in explaining what the many things that Angel did. But what he left behind also was, we've been doing a Christmas toy drive for the children of the domestic violence program for the last 10 years. And this was something that he helped implement. In addition to that, we are doing and working on improving our food distribution pantry. And this is something that the Block Association is active in doing. And these are the many things that he helped create and we continue to support. We also provide housing advocacy, social services, which Candy can tell you the things that we do, but a lot of it was because of his involvement in the community that he brought together good people that that had a heart to serve the community and help in any way possible retain our presence in the community, because as you know, we've been gentrified in many ways, and there's a lot that we can contribute. And I strongly hope that you would support Angel's Place and help us honor his memory, and even Chuck and the other people that are coming before this board. Boy, it's amazing the stories of the wonderful people that have serviced our community and that made this nation great. And I am truly grateful to even all of you who I hope one day will take the realm and become the leaders that we look forward to. And thank you for allowing me to say a couple of words.
Thank you. Okay, we had one hand raised, Dawn.
Good evening. I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that we still get street renamings where there's just overwhelming change, led by that person. I think sometimes we have too many street renamings, but I really feel like it's just so uplifting to have one like this. Housing changes people's lives, and I was privileged to meet Mr. Colon and to be a tenant of the Colon Plaza for a number of years. And I just, I'm just grateful that you're taking the time to do this. And I wish you, just as a resident, I wish you all the luck in the world. And I'm glad that you're making this move, because I have a lot of respect for 116th Street Block Association, for Mr. Colon, and for all the things that you do. Just quickly, when some of the buildings were going up in the neighborhood, I noticed that Candy was like the only person to say, you shouldn't look at somebody's cable bills and eliminate them from housing. And just her way, and I understand that's the whole Block Association is like that, but finding creative ways that people are not discriminated against, finding creative ways for people to get much better housing. I'm just really impressed with that. And so I applaud you guys for having the time to bring this up again, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I
Thank you.
appreciate those words. Thanks.
Thank you, Dawn. I have, am I reading this right? Is this a twin? Another Candy David?
Yeah, you got triplets.
Hi.
Two?
Good
You're gonna
evening,
have to explain that
everyone.
first. Can we start there?
Good evening, everyone. Happy holidays. My name is Maribel Masso.
Okay.
It's actually a pleasure to be here. Nice to see some familiar faces. Carlos, Dawn. When Candy told me she was making this presentation, I jumped on the wagon to speak about Angel Luis. Angel Luis gave me the opportunity when I was 16 to get an after-school job as a secretary, and at 17, he promoted me to tenant organizer. And when I think about Angel Luis, I have to be more than grateful, because he was so instrumental in my life that's been my goal now in life, to be a public advocate for my clients. Housing court just can't take enough of my visits anymore, because I believe, like in Angel Luis, you need a home to have your family and just the security. And that's one thing that he believed in. Everybody deserves a chance. And I'm so proud of Candy for allowing this opportunity to happen, because even when you talk about politics, we were young when we went to Angel Luis about we wanted to run for district leader, and he gave us the green light, say, you girls could do it. And when we won, he was the first person there congratulating us, but he's been so instrumental in my life that now I'm on the other side of my career, which is working in a men's shelter, in a family shelter, and in a men's shelter, that now I'm on the opposite way, what happens after they get evicted. You know what I'm saying? And it's those instrumental goals that he set on us, to learn that I'm able to advocate for my clients to go back onto their apartments. I'm able to advocate with HRA, regarding the one-shot use so they can return to their apartment. So I'm really grateful that Candy's taking this opportunity to acknowledge a man that was really about his community, how he gave back. I'm glad to see Antonio was here too. And I just want to say that this is something that I feel should be given to him because he earned it. The years that he gave us and this community, it's time. So I want to say thank you. And again, happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thanks, Maribel.
Maribel. Okay, do we have any other questions or comments? No, Maribel, could you put your hand down? No worries. All right, Candy, thank you for that presentation. It was wonderful. It's great to see these unsung heroes from our neighborhood. Now we're going to circle back to Beatrice. Hopefully we are ready.
My name is Bernadette.
Bernadette. You know what? I do that.
No problem,
constantly with
Jose.
those names. It's a bad habit.
I sent the link to Mr. Nixon and he said he has access to it.
Beautiful. Khalid.
It is easy for me to talk about my brother. He meant the world to me. I later learned he meant the world to so many others. Gerard was born, raised, served, and died within the community he loved. Before he knew who he would be, he was a superhero to me. Gerard began his life on 131st Street between 5th and Madison Avenues. He attended PS 133, which was literally right across the street. At the age of 7, he moved to 131st Street and Lexington Avenue. His first good deed was performed there. While going to get a newspaper on Sunday mornings for his parents, he developed a paper route for multiple seniors in the surrounding buildings. New to the neighborhood, he easily acquired admiration. Gerard got involved with Each One Teach One, a youth development and mentoring program. The program provided a blueprint to become an upstanding citizen. Gerard had a love for sports. He played basketball and later got involved with Eric Bowles' Memorial Basketball Classic, where he sponsored many teams in the tournament. Though he was active, he struggled with managing his weight all through his growing years. He eventually dropped out of high school because he had a hard time fitting in the chair desk and was constantly teased and ridiculed. Though he was a big guy, Gerard always kept up with his hygiene and maintained a very nice appearance. He was determined to show others that being large did not mean you could not be confident.
Being his friend all these years, the first time I ever seen a big guy fly like that in the flesh was Gerard. Gerard had some Louis Vuitton suit on. And I was like, yo, what is that? He was like, yo, this is Dapper Dan. And so he took me to Dapper Dan for the first time ever and put me on the Dapper Dan and I became a customer and I didn't know somebody could make fly clothes like that for a big guy.
Gerard worked at Dapper Dan in the late 80s. He continued to promote the ideal that fashion for men of size was attainable. Being around multiple rap artists that patronized the business increased his love for music. Besides working for Dapper Dan, he was an MC who wrote clever lyrics and also a local DJ. He performed at local events and became the neighborhood videographer. In 1997, Gerard birthed what he referred to as his baby, Ghetto Videos/Ghetto TV. Gerard's show helped artists reach gold and platinum status, and for that, he received plaques. Gerard used his platform to showcase new talent, promote local business, and more importantly, employ community residents. Gerard taught them how to properly conduct interviews and interact professionally. Local residents were able to meet stars in the industry they would have otherwise not been able to meet while acquiring skills that would last them a lifetime.
And us to host his show at a young age. He trusted high school students with his show and going to meet these celebrities. And, you know, I think about all of the interactions that I was fortunate to have with G-Rod. And I remember being able to do his show. I remember we did his first show and he let us see that tape back. And man, it was horrible. Chewing gum, et cetera, you know, touching my eyebrows. And he doesn't realize, but as a health professional, from that day and time, as a young age and networking and meeting people, the growth that I had just from G-Rod of giving us that platform when speaking to people and how I speak to my patients, how I'm able to relate, that at a young age, I built communication skills from what my man G allowed me to do and not realizing how big of an opportunity it was until my older age. He made a major impact in my teenage years. And I just wanted to say, God bless. And what a blessing it is that we all had the opportunity to have that man grace our presence.
While Gerard's baby was his video show, his true love was his love for dogs. Gerard always had a dog. He loved them so much he would dress them up. Gerard cared for not only his dogs, but offered veterinary services to those in the community. Gerard offered shots for both dogs and cats for discounted rates, and he even cared for snakes. There once was a time Gerard offered his Rottweilers to secure Addie Mae Collins, who were experiencing a string of break-ins.
He lent us the dogs for Addie Mae Collins as security. And
yes,
so
Lord, tell it.
Okay, I had to let y'all know this. The dog came into place and took over. The dogs took care, and anybody tried to break in there after we closed up, the dogs went for them. So therefore, Gerard was, what do I say, a marvelous, beautiful young person. I really liked him. He stood on the corner with my daughter out there on 128th Street by the mailbox.
Gerard had no problem helping out. He would do anything to support seniors and children. Gerard would solicit donations from all of his contacts in order to provide school supplies for the children in the community.
So every year he would hit me up and be like, yo, Joe, I need books, I need book bags, I need supplies for the kids on the block. And definitely either he sent somebody to me or I went over there, gave him the money so he could give it to the block. And even though this guy, you know, we never looked at him because he was big, so for so long, we never looked at his health issues. But even though he had health issues, he always wanted to give back and he always had a huge heart.
I still perform this deed in his honor annually on the last Saturday in August. This happens on 130th Street and Lexington Avenue.
About it. I always say this because people don't understand how one person could impact your life. And G was literally that person. And that's why I personally made sure that he had everything that he needed, because he helped not only me. I remember I met him when I was 13. I was really bad. G never judged me. He made sure that every kid was taken care of. And I feel like I always say this because that's one of the biggest things about G is that he was so, like, he cared about everybody, every single kid when it was time to go back to school, whether it was the homeless, everything. You will always hear me say that because that's one of the most important things to me about G as a person, because a person that could do all of that when without being able to physically do it himself, it takes a lot. Okay. And he made sure that these kids for years, even if I had to go to Rosanna Scotto for Fox 5, meet Joe and he made sure these kids in the neighborhood that doesn't, might not have it, he made sure they had it. And to me, that means everything to me.
Growing up in East Harlem, you could not help but notice the drug-addicted village of individuals who dwell on 125th Street and Lexington Avenue. A quick walk down the avenue will reveal homeless individuals calling the sidewalk their home. Gerard and I began to offer food, blankets, and socks to those individuals. It was something we just did. In 2016, I gave the effort a name and had it incorporated. Be About It Cares was born, a 501c3 nonprofit charity with ties to New Jersey, where I now live, and New York. Gerard was the president of the organization. Gerard did more for the organization from his bedroom than able-bodied people do every day. He was a tremendous driving force, and together, we provided key necessities to the neediest in the community. G had his hands in so many things. As his weight continued to increase, he found himself spending more and more time indoors. A natural-born poet, he would write a lot. He often wrote poetry to eulogize those who passed away.
And I want to leave on this last note. Gerard, aside from his giving, he had a talent of poetry and writing. And when I lost my mom in August of 2016, he wrote a poem like a lot of times he do. And it was entitled Harlem's Queen. And this is the obituary, and this is the poem on the back. I don't know if y'all can see it. And this is a piece of Gerard I will always have close and dear to my heart. And as far as the 131st Street, renaming, Michelle just did that with her mom, and that would be lovely to see corner to corner, each corner if we can, of and who were, pillars in our community. And I just want to say that Gerard was, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to reiterate, he was a DJ, he was a mentor, he was a confidant, he was a comedian, he was a lot of things to different people, and he was the same thing to many.
My brother never had a passport. He never left the country. In his adult life, he never left the state. He could barely leave his home. His true love and life was his community. Gerard suffered a stroke in late 2019 and succumbed to the effects on May 21st, 2020. I hope and pray he is remembered for all he did for his community.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Nixon.
Thank you, Khalid. Do we have any questions for Ms. Bernadette based on the presentation? Dawn?
I just wanted to thank you for bringing and sharing that story with us. It can be very emotional to share that type of information, and I just thank you for bringing that forward and continuing this work.
Thank you, Dawn.
Okay. Bernadette, thank you
And
for your
make a comment.
presentation. It was heartfelt. And we are happy that we were able to get past the technological part
Somebody
Lee,
said they
thank
wanted
you.
to make a comment. I don't know who it was. I think it was Wanda.
Yes, I
Didn't see
just
a
wanted
hand up.
to,
Go
She's
ahead.
calling
just
in.
wanted to just,
Go ahead.
oh, I just wanted to say thank you, for bringing the presentation. I personally knew Gerard, and every testament is true. He was a hero in this neighborhood, especially to the youth. A lot of kids really loved him dearly for his work and his dedication. So he's well deserved of this honor. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ms. Bernadette. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you for your opportunity and your time, everyone on the board and everyone present. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move forward with our agenda now. We're going to finalize. We had the car share program come last month. And obviously we shared with them our input, and they will be still receiving any written input from us. Obviously, we were not happy with the way that the city and the DOT has been conducting this car share program in our community. We found really input from the community. We found proper feedback from us on a constant basis with this program. It has been quite taxing, the community losing parking for this, not knowing if this is being used by our community, it's being used by outside of our community, all that information. They made obviously promises that they will be returning and giving us what we needed, but it's hard to believe when initially that's not what was happening. However, we will hold them to what they said. We will be submitting some more written information if anyone from the committee wanted to have this input. I'll be working with that with Khalid, particularly in where they want to implement these parking spots. So does anyone else have any comments, or should I just call Dawn out without her raising her hand? I think I'll call her out without her raising her hand. Stop laughing, girl. Unmute yourself.
I was gonna raise my hand and say I was in full support, right?
I can read your mind now. You see that?
I think I wrote to Khalid, and I think I'm gonna try to put all my feelings into some words and just reiterate that, this is something that basically reduces the quality of life for people who are already in this community. And it just kind of says, we're going to tell people how to live, especially poor people, because this doesn't affect people with money. This just affects people who are kind of, struggling, or they're just barely keeping a car, or they're, using a car for work. And, we have people in this community living in their cars, but DOT would never know that because they don't look at our community in a holistic way. So they just rather punish people for having cars and punish the people who live here with an overpriced program that only benefits well-off people who have gentrified the area. So I don't know why we would celebrate that or support it, but I'm happy to put my thoughts in like a more a less upset way for submission. Because I was really upset the last meeting, and I don't think I couldn't hide it at all. So
We know, and you're not alone. Thank you, Dawn. Kenneth?
Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. I'll be really quick. So I just want to add, and I'll probably submit written comments and thoughts as well, but I was wondering if we could find out the zip codes of the customers who are currently using these rideshare apps. I wonder if that'd be sufficiently anonymous for their purposes, but then for our purposes, give us a sense of if the community is really using this And I had asked them at the meeting about their fee schedules, the discounts, how long those discounts would last. And if I could, I'll try to draft something in writing, but I would want to reiterate that question for them as well. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you, Kenneth. And no, it's a very valid, I think, proximity to the neighborhood to see if it is being used within our neighborhood. We will need these comments within 1 week's time so we can submit it before full board. We want to make sure that we do submit this information in. Michelle?
According to the work that sent to us, it was 14 weeks before fines were given, which is way too short of a time. And then in NYCHA to have it at a lower price. However, it was displayed via social media and in a way that, like, really, how you get the information for a period of time and then the short period of time to actually sign up for the program. And then it shows that within this information that it's usually to one group of people that were on a higher economic level that were not living in the area, usually lower Manhattan or someplace outside of the community, that partook of this car share. So how is it benefiting us at all, except for increasing the emission of whatever the car is giving off, or how many people are idling in our community, and decreasing the parking spaces that we already don't have? I will be submitting something in writing so that it's put on the record. As you can tell how vehemently against it. And why, if it was really to reduce emissions, why not have electric cars and have electric power stations for whatever car or vehicle wanted to charge their vehicle in order to lower emissions, if that was the true reason for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle.
Jose, I have to beg you one thing.
Okay, I see you. Yeah, go ahead.
After the meeting, I went to the Sunday NYCHA meeting. That's every Sunday from 3 to 5 for preserving NYCHA. And it was not something any of those TA presidents had ever heard of. One TA heard about it because they were actually going to take over the parking of the NYCHA residents within their own parking lot, which is their parking lot. So I just want to say, this was not brought to NYCHA TAs, so they don't have the NYCHA TA support. So I don't want anybody to be confused that the NYCHA TAs are on board unless someone can text me, DM me, and let me know that they know differently.
Thank you, Don. Rafael, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I'm still here. I've been listening. I've been, considering that all your comments have been very valid. And what I would suggest you do is to put that in writing and send it to me, CC Lyle, because I'm going to be taking care of all these issues moving forward. And as it is right now, I'm unable to really talk to those issues, but I will very well be ready to do that very soon in the future. So what I will suggest you do, please, send it to me. I will be an activist, as I will be in the past. So let's work together, and don't feel sorry. Just feel happy that I'm with you guys.
Thank you, Rafael.
Okay.
All right, so as we spoke, we'll have those written comments. Please send that in as soon as possible so we can compile them with Khalid and send that out. We're going to move forward with our agenda. We have tonight we'll be finalizing our brother DJ K. Slay Way Street, the renaming. we heard his, who hasn't heard of DJ K Slay, right? We've heard the presentation last month. We have Jared and we have Sean here with you. I seen you. I saw you. I like that Nike beanie. You see her? So, obviously, Raphael, could you put your hand up? Thank you. So finalizing, we share. I can't start the vote myself, or I would, but we would like to move forward. So if I need someone from the committee to vote in favor of this, and we can second and have a vote. Dawn?
I would like to propose a motion that the committee support the renaming of DJ K Slade. Is it Way?
Way.
Way at 105th and I believe First. Is that sufficient?
And we have Michelle as I'm believing she's going to second.
Yes, I will second the DJ K Slade Way Street co-naming.
And Carlos Diaz is going to third it. All
No,
right.
I was going to second it, but I'll use my.
Michelle was quicker, Carlos. All right. You're too comfortable in that chair. All right. So, Khalid, let's do a roll call, please.
Okay, members, I'll be calling you by your last name in alphabetical order. Jose Altamirano.
In favor.
Kenneth Crouch.
Also in favor.
Carlos Diaz.
Yes.
I don't believe Judith Brower is still in, so she's absent. Osendi Garcia.
In favor.
Wanda Hopkins.
In favor.
Marissa Mack is still absent. Roberto Perez. Roberto Perez. Don Sanders.
In favor.
Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
In favor as well.
I'll give Roberto Perez a note. Roberto Perez, are you available to cast your vote?
I see him here, but
yeah, okay, all right. Well, abstaining from his I'm sorry, Jose?
I think the odds have it though.
Yeah, the odds have it. So yeah, almost a unanimous vote, save for Roberto if he makes
perfect
his vote.
All right, so we will be moving this to full board, and from there we will rectify it, send it to City Council. So Jared, Del, thank you for bringing this before us. As always, we are.
Thank you so much to the entire board.
Yeah, to have
Thank you,
brother
guys.
DJ
God bless
K
you.
in front of us. All right, thank you all.
Jose, I have a question.
You have a question, sure.
I got a call from one of the family members that we voted on a couple of months ago. Haram Maristani street naming, which was done during the summer. But there was a young lady by the name of Carmen Ward that was part of that, that we voted for support and naming the street after Carmen Ward. Do you know if the city council approved Carmen Ward street naming?
I do not know. We can look into that.
Could you please, because I told her to give me a call so we could follow up on it. Because I know that we did vote on Hiram Maristani and also on Common Ward's street naming.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlos. So I'm gonna be out of office tomorrow and the rest of the week next week. But can you just call in and either speak to Marlene or Angel and put in that request, and then we can follow up with the council members.
Sure, I will. Thank you very much.
You got it, Carlos.
Sounds good. I think I'll pass by the office tomorrow. I'll speak to Angel myself as well, Carlos, and we'll follow up on that. All right. All right. And I think with that, we are concluding our meeting. Thank you all for coming here, for being with us and listening to us and putting up the good fight as always, getting the work done. We appreciate you all being present. Xavier, you had something, our chair raised his hand.
Thank you so much, Jose. I appreciate that. And I apologize. I've been in and out. My youngest is sick. I've been multitasking. Did you get to have the presentation from Sean Hill with the M35?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I believe Sean Hill was on, correct? To talk about a request for a letter of support for recommendations with the M35 bus. Was that brought up at all?
I did not have that on my agenda, no.
Okay. I think there were emails back and forth, and I had sent emails requesting for that. I don't know if he's still on to present to the committee, asking for a letter of support because it extended beyond the typical discussion with positions we've taken.
I don't think I've seen him on at all, but let me see.
He's there.
Oh, AL is AL. Let me ask to unmute. AL, I know you have a
Yeah, but Sean can go. Sean's in the room, I think. I can go afterwards.
you had an announcement, correct?
Yes. Do you want me to give it right now?
No, we'll do announcements at the very end, right before we close.
Okay, great.
Sean?
Oh, okay. I will be very brief because I know it's the end of the evening and everyone has things to do. I'm the vice president of the Harlem Neighborhood Block Association, and I've come before your committee to request a letter to the head of the MTA supporting the idea of returning the M35 bus to the route that was once taken by the M34 bus. I'm not sure if anyone on this call remembers the M34, but the M34 used to go between East Harlem, Randall's Island, and Astoria, stopping at the subway stations in Astoria, Queens. Our request is for a letter to the MTA from your committee and from Community Board 11 to support the idea of a return so that our neighbors and co-residents who are sheltered on the island would also have easier access to Brooklyn, Queens, and other transit options on the other side of the Triborough or RFK Bridge. Very simply, that's what my request is, and that's all I have to say. If there are any questions about this request or anything else, I'd be happy to answer them.
Could you give a little clarification to the committee in regards of the actual, the where the stop currently is and what exact change you're hoping to have?
Sure. Currently, the M35 bus essentially goes from the Lexington Avenue 125th Street station for the 456 train over the RFK Bridge to Randall's and Ward's Island, and then circles back and comes back to our community. Our request is that this route be extended so that not only stopping in Randall's and Ward's Island, the bus would continue on over the RFK Bridge to the train station just over in Astoria, Queens, and then returning back to Manhattan via the island as well. This would also provide residents who have mobility issues in Queens to access Ward's and Randall's Island, which they currently do not have, unless they take the M60 bus all the way over to our neighborhood and then take the M35 back.
All right, because currently the M35 goes from our neighborhood into Ward Island, but does not go to Queens. And you want it to continue on to Queens.
Correct.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions in regards to this? We're going to reach out to the MTA to see if we can get a. Have you reached out to the MTA by any Sean?
Yes, of course we have. And
What have they said?
And we were specifically asking about the historic route of the bus, and which is why we are asking for a return to the pre-1995 route of the former M34 bus.
Right, but what was the MTA's response, or did they?
Oh, we haven't received a response yet. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so an inquiry was made.
Yes, an inquiry was made, but we have not yet received a response.
Okay. We have 2 questions. Michelle, go ahead.
Hi, I was curious to find out the reason why the bus route was changed or altered to exclude the Queens. Is there why it was shortened?
Michelle, I actually do not know why it was changed in 1995. At that time, I was living in Inwood and I wasn't living here in East Harlem. I don't know if there's anyone on this call that has a deeper and richer experience or memory with public transit in the community at that time, but I simply don't know the answer to your question. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
And we had AL, you have a question, or is that an earlier hand for the announcement you have?
Earlier hand for announcement.
Got it. You can lower it down. I'll make sure not to forget you for announcements. All right. As per our typical procedure, we will listen to this. We will vote on it for next month. In the meantime, though, we will be reaching out as well to the MTA to see if they have an appropriate response as to why it was shortened. What were the reasons behind it? Hopefully they have an explanation. Unfortunately, sometimes they simply do not. But we will. I wish everything made sense with the MTA, but it doesn't always happen. So we will be doing our due diligence in that regards, see if there was a particular reasoning as to the why. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense to have that kind of connection, but it will be interesting to see what they say in return.
And if I could just add one other thing, one of our experiences in having conversations with a number of the providers on Wards Island has been that they have expressed an incredible difficulty in hiring staff. And one of the main reasons staff give them, or prospective staff give them, for failing to either follow through or accept a job offer is simply transportation. And it essentially eliminates a number of people from the Queens and Brooklyn neighborhoods or boroughs to applying to work on the island. It's really a difficult staffing situation for those providers, and we'd like to be able to support that as well as much as possible.
Well, we'd like to help you with that one, but we always promote East Harlem employment to Randall Ward Island. So we'll leave that one on the lower part of the priority, Sean. Okay, because we in this community board, right, everyone forgets that Randall and Ward Island fall under our joint, positioning, and we, always would like to have people employed from East Harlem. But I understand the reasoning behind it, but we will always try to give priority for someone from East Harlem to be employed. Thank you, though. Any other Xavier, you have a question, comment? Or was that a previous hand? Oh,
Not a previous hand. Thank you for presenting, Sean. I'd like to carry this topic on to executive next week, please. So let's see if we can get the MTA to circle back, because this has been an issue that even prior to this presentation, our previous assembly member, Robert Rodriguez, who is now the Secretary of the State of New York, was advocating for a more equitable carriage route, if you will. And
it makes a good amount of sense, but
yeah,
definitely
so
we can bring it up in executive. I don't know if MTA, I'm on the phone. You gotta wait. Whatever
yeah,
it is.
so let's see if we can bring them, because it would be fruitful to bring that up, because this has been an issue that I know you and I and many others have discussed for years. So let's, yeah, that's my
Sounds good.
recommendation. Thank you.
Xavier. All right, now we're moving on to announcements. AL, floor is yours.
Thank you so much.
Been so patient.
Hello, Public Safety and Transportation Committee, and thank you, Jose, for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is A.L. Hugh. My pronouns are they and them. I am the Design Initiatives Manager at Ascendant Neighborhood Development. We have presented to this committee in the past regarding a different project, but for those who are not familiar with our work, we are a community-based nonprofit in East and Central Harlem, and our office is on East 116th Street between First and Pleasant Avenue. Ascendant has been around for 34 years. We have a current portfolio of 28 affordable rental buildings scattered around the neighborhood, and those provide affordable rental housing for individuals, families, and seniors. And we have 4 projects, a total of 7 buildings, all in various stages of pre-development in East and Central Harlem. The reason I am coming to the Public Safety and Transportation Committee tonight is for a new affordable senior building called the Carmen Villegas Apartments. I'll be referring to it as CVA probably, that is currently in pre-development. It will be a new construction building that will be on 110th Street and Park Avenue. CVA is subject to, so this is not the last time you'll hear about this project, but we wanted to come to the community board really early on this because this project is complicated and impactful, so we want feedback early. We just want to make sure that the project is really meeting the community's goals and needs. So we're here way before the project will go through ULURP because we are conducting a needs assessment of East Harlem to guide the design and amenities. And to do that, we've contracted Strength in Numbers Consulting Group, a social justice research and evaluation group that will be working closely with us. I'll turn it over to Shannon Chung from Strength in Numbers to discuss ways to get involved. And hopefully Shannon has
I see Shannon. Go ahead, Shannon. Khalid, could you unmute her?
Hi all, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. Thanks, AL. And thank you, Community Board 11. So as AL mentioned, my name is Shannon Chung. I use she, they pronouns. I'm a research associate with Strength in Numbers Consulting Group, working with Ascendant Neighborhood Development on this community needs assessment. As AL mentioned, one of our priorities is to make sure the new building will be designed with the community in mind. And so we are looking for folks, to participate in some community focus groups. We expect these groups to take place in mid to late January, and we're planning for them to last about an hour and a half, and it'll be a group discussion based on East Harlem residents' experiences living in the community and ways that this new building can be a positive addition. We'll serve some light refreshments at the group, and participants will get a gift card. And we'll have groups facilitated in both English as well as in Spanish. So we're asking community members to share about this opportunity with others and to contact me or AL as well to express interest or for more information. And I will put my email and number in the chat, but for the record, the email is schung, so SCHEUNG @sincg.com. I can also be reached by phone at 732-610-2543. And I believe the Community Board 11 newsletter will also circulate our flyer for this.
Shannon, if you could put that information in our chat, that way anyone that needs it can just grab it, copy and paste it. Michelle?
Hi, Shannon. You had mentioned that it would be for, and as well as AL, that it would be for senior living situation. So when you have the presentation, are you going to be limited to a certain age range, or will this be an invitation to the greater community?
Are you asking about eligibility to participate in the focus group specifically?
The focus, yes.
Okay, yes, okay. So thank you for your question, Michelle. So as far as focus groups go, our eligibility criteria so far are just that you must live in East Harlem, and that's primarily it for now. This building is specifically for senior affordable housing, but we're looking to see how the building can fulfill community needs, and that affects everyone who lives in the community. So I hope that answers your question.
It does answer my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. You know, we were talking about in the chat how you know how it's very refreshing to see you engage well before the process begins. So thank you for that. Carlos, you have a question, comment?
Did you say affordable housing or low income housing? I'm a little. Did you hear what I said, or?
Yes, I think that's a question for AL.
Yes, it'll be senior affordable rental apartments.
No low income for seniors.
I am not sure. That's a very good question.
Maybe we can pass along Derek Gaskell's contact information if there are further questions on that.
Yeah, I can put that in the chat, and his email is.
Because that seems to be one of our problems, is that we support a lot of the housing in East Harlem. We're very rarely hear about low income especially for our seniors. So it's something that we should be look into if we can.
Yeah,
Thank you for that,
off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it will be for low income seniors, but maybe send us an email to double check, and the next time we come to present, we will have a definite answer for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, AL, for that. Kenneth has a question, comment?
Yes, this might be along the same lines. I'm just wondering, I know it's early days, and again, we really, really appreciate that you're coming to us to talk about it. You know, that means a lot, and I'm glad this committee input. Do you have a sense of the AMI, if it's a proposed AMI, and then if it ends up being in sort of the city's affordable housing portal, will there be a preference for Community Board 11 residents who already live here, like a certain percentage preference? And you may not have the information now, but, and that's for Shannon and AL. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kenneth, for that question. Off the top of my head, I do not know that. And yes, it's true, we are in the very early stages. So I'm not sure if we've exactly thought about that yet, but we do want to make sure that residents of Community Board 11 are prioritized, because it will be built in East Harlem. And we understand that there is a great need for senior affordable housing in the neighborhood. And hopefully I will definitely pass this on to everyone else on the Ascendant Neighborhood Development team. We will have a definite answer for you by the next time we present.
Thank you, AL. Appreciate it. See, that was well worth. I'm happy that AL stayed the whole time. It's always great. Look, I want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight. I want to say that I hope you have happy holidays, that you spend it with your loved ones. I appreciate all the work that the committee does and the time that it takes. We will now wrap our committee up. So we are going to do our roll call, and then I'll be adjourning. Khalid?
Okay, committee members. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Kenneth Crouch.
Present. Happy holidays, all.
Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Judith Ferbraro, still absent. Osendi Garcia. I know Osendi said that she was having some audio issues. She had messaged me.
I still see her here? Yeah.
Yeah. Wanda Hopkins.
Present.
Marissa Mack is still absent. Roberto Perez. I don't see him here. Don Sanders,
Here.
Michelle Wiltshire Clement,
Here. Good night, everyone. Have a great holiday.
We're all done there, Khalid?
You're done, Chair.
All right, Khalid, thank you too for all the hard work and everything. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
And
Thank you for your time.
have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
God bless. Have a good one. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Nixon.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Take care.
Take care, guys.
So we have x squared plus 1